Okay, you know the drill. Today there's gonna be some knows and some don't knows, but it's all just stuff that caught my eye this week, and I wanna ramble about it because I'm Robo. This here's the rewind. Let's get the don't knows out of the way first, starting with the Storm Collectibles Storm Arena Baki Hanma Son of Ogre. I'd never heard of this property until Storm announced their true 1/12 scale line, Storm Arena. But looking at this, it seems like some sweet, sweet plastic. It's essentially scarred up dude in trunks, but from what I can see, it looks damn impressive. My biggest reason to bring this up is the solicitation info and how it may apply to other lines under the Storm Arena banner, like Street Fighter and King of Fighters and, Darkstalkers. Let's bring the lower third back. Look at that. $24.99. It almost seems like Storm was staring over in Jada's direction and went, oh, yeah, we're $24.99 too. I have a feeling that some of the larger Darkstalkers figures may jump in price because it's more plastic, but if $24.99 is the base price for the base figure for the standard size within 1/12 scale, I think I'm good. Especially if they can actually get deeper into the roster of Darkstalkers instead of just releasing Dimitri and Morgan in their obviously bigger than 1/12 scale, yet we're calling it 1/12 scale line. But that's for future rambling. Baki Hanma is up for pre-order right now. Looks like a pretty good action figure. If you know what this is, then here you go, it's for you. And that's all I got to say about this specific figure, just as a sign of things to come. This week, Ramen Toys announced a collaboration with Giant Leap and Zika Toys to repaint their economical van into the Misery Machine. And yes, before we go on, I know exactly what this is based on. Robo does know a few things. I just don't know if Misery Machine was a pre-existing concept. Is there a history for this? Is it a third-party thing? Is it a clever way to get around licensing? Is it just out of the blue? I don't know, but given what it looks like, of course I'm gonna take a gander. When I first caught wind of this, I was hoping that the design elements were decals, where you could take the zombie head and the bloody handprints and put them wherever you want, or not put them on at all. But seeing the pictures, I think this is pretty much what you see is what you get. And hey, that's still cool. Push it real fast across the floor and you could be fooled into thinking it was not the Misery Machine. Add a T in there. Although it does get my imagination going for some customs, like bloody, grim, gritty, realistic Scooby Gang. And I just shove them into the van. But if I did that, I'd want to dirty this up even more. I haven't actually laid hands on the Ramen van base model, so I'm looking for that first toe dip. And I don't know if it'll be... We'll see. Last week I missed the Harvinger Studios Elric of Melniboné, I can't say it. I absolutely cannot say it. I did my research. I looked it up. I can hear it in my head, but my mouth just does not go Melniboné. I want to put a D at the end when it's an N. Elric of Melniboné. Melniboné. If it was Melniboné, all day I'd have it. But Melniboné. It's a sweet looking knight type action figure based on a character that doesn't have a lot of knight-like qualities. Yes, I was able to glean a little backstory while I was searching for pronunciations. So there you go. It's got an edge, an almost villain look to it, but again, through my readings and listenings, I learned that this is more of an anti-hero type character. Apparently Moorcock was asked to come up with a Conan type character, and this is what he gave him, kind of the antithesis to Conan. And yes, I don't use antithesis a lot. Again, I watched some videos. I done learned some stuff. If you're into Savage Crucible, this should do you just fine. Same company. Let's bring the lower third out again because the reason for the two prices is an early bird special. On the site, the MSRP is listed as $59.99. But if you put a $5 deposit down, the price drops to $50. but if you pay the full price right now, it's $45. So it is worth locking it in now if you're interested. Melniboné. That last N is tricky for a southern mouth. Let's go ahead and move on to the newest wave of Super7 ThunderCats ULTIMATES. Oh, been a while since I've done that. I think I threw my back out. We've discussed this before, but I think I have way less exposure to ThunderCats than I once thought I did. If you'd asked me 10 years ago, it would have been like, oh, ThunderCats, yeah, huge fan. I love that cartoon back in the day. But now that Super7 is getting to more tertiary and lesser known characters, I'm just staring at them like, who the hell is Safari Joe? If I close my eyes and say the name Safari Joe, I get a certain image in my head. I open my eyes and look, there it is. That's pretty much exactly what I had up here. The Choo Choo sidekick wasn't part of that process, but hey, it looks cool. So it essentially makes it a 2-pack, I guess. I'm guessing he had some kind of British accent. He had to have, right? And he's always huffing and puffing, chasing after the ThunderCats. And then the locomotive bot is all, but sir, we cannot hunt ThunderCats without a license. Oh, we're gonna get authority. And he's like, shut up, little robot. And then they just go along their merry way, having no effect whatsoever on the ThunderCats. When I saw Nada, I thought, well, that looks kind of like Willa from a previous wave. Then I read the blurb at the bottom and yep, that's Willa's sister. Makes sense. I didn't know Willa. I don't know Nada. So, hey, you can just hang out together. And they do share some parts, mostly the accessories. It feels like the base body itself is the same shape, the same feel, but there is some differences to the bracers and things like that. But they'll probably peanut butter and jelly right beside each other. Cruncher is my favorite though. I love figures with this body type. It's just a big chunk, almost as wide as they are tall. It always makes me feel like I need this for a custom. Who would I make? I don't know, but it'd look cool. It's big, it's bulky, it probably doesn't move worth a shit, but it looks fantastic doing it. Plus you gotta like a guy that doesn't allow Lino to be put in a corner. Get it? Dirty Dancing. Cruncher's going for the lift while staring awkwardly at Lino's abs. As always, there is a bonus head pack if you order the whole set directly from Super7. This time around, it's Safari Joe with a full-on laugh, it's Cruncher with a cocky grin, and it's young grunge phase Mumra. Thoughts arrive like ThunderCats. Maybe I need to go back and watch some ThunderCats. Maybe. You know, kind of like what I've been saying about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse for a good long time now. And guess what? I finally sat down and watched it. Loved it. And the good thing about waiting this long is that I was kind of prepared for the cliffhanger, so I wasn't disappointed at the end. I thought, here it comes. Yep. It's ending right there. So when I saw Bandai soliciting their S.H. Figuarts Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham under the Across the Spider-Verse banner, my first thought was, weren't they only in the movie at the very, 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 very end? Which is what someone would say when they have watched something. Someone who knows something. Is that what that feels like? Knowingness? Knowing what you're talking about? It kind of builds right here, like a warm fuzzy, and then goes up to the brain, and you have to fight. Oh, no. Right before it gets cocky. Yeah, guys, cut it off. First impression, these look great. I still find myself without a Noir. I've been sitting on the fence. I can't decide which one to get, and here's another contestant for jump on Robo's shelf. Which one will it be? I don't know. We'll wait and see. The soft goods trench coat isn't winning me over here though. It's very lumpy on the body, and I'm finding myself thinking that about a lot of Bandai soft goods. The Batmans, the Darth Vaders, I think I've replaced several of those. And then Spider-Ham continues the statue trend, where they give you swappable parts, but no real articulation. I guess the limbs are just too thin, or he's too small, something. But that brings up another bad habit that Bandai has that just, it grinds my gears. There are 2 heads, 2 sets of legs, 4 sets of arms, 1 torso. They couldn't throw another core piece in there so you could have 2 Peter Porkers? They could have dropped 1 set of the Noir hands and used that exact amount of plastic for another Spider-Ham piece. Maybe angled to the side, maybe crunched. Options. And I know the designers probably looked at this and thought, you're only gonna display 1 Spider-Ham. Why do you need parts to make 2 full ones. All these parts are to change up to make up for the lack of articulation in the one figure. I'm holding 2 fingers up. One figure. I get it, I really do, but dang it, it's just one tiny piece of plastic. And I also may still be a little salty about that $200 S.H. Figuarts Emperor Palpatine set that was one hood away from having 2 full Palpatine figures. That's just wrong. That segues nicely into the Hasbro Star Wars fan stream this week, where they revealed 2 new Black Series figures. Two, as we're doing today, apparently. They did make sure to say several times that they were gonna be doing the streams on a more regular basis. I don't know if I can't remember if they said monthly, but more than they have been doing. So hey, here's 2 now. We'll give you more in a little bit, more after that. Well, there's Toy Fair, and then maybe more, and then more, and then there's San Diego. You know the schedule. Both of this week's are from the Ahsoka series, starting with Anakin Skywalker. We knew this was coming, we knew there would be a lot of reuse, but seeing the full photo spread, I do like this, mostly because of the head. A Black Series Anakin that looks like Anakin. A lot of the rest of the body is Clone Wars Anakin, which was a Target exclusive, so very hard to get. A lot of people missed out on that. So there's another reason for this release. You can use this as Clone Wars Anakin if you want. I was able to track down the Target version, and it's the one in my main display. This may replace that. Or, and I'm just realizing, since the soft goods on this look a little flat, maybe I'll do a head swap. Put this good looking Anakin head on that body with the rubber tunic, and then have this as my action Anakin. Then there's Clone Captain Rex. I'm more of a phase 2 kind of guy, so this doesn't do as much for me as it is other people. Then again, it's Rex, and it's a good looking figure. It fills that spot nicely if you don't have a previous version, or if you have an Ahsoka specific display, here's something for that. It's the newer clone body, which is great, which it should always happen. It should always have the latest and greatest. Plus it has double trigger finger hands. Oh, I don't have to slice the left one in order to have them dual wield. Again, 2 reveals feels a little lean for a full-on fan stream, but at least it was 2 heavy hitters. Jumping awkwardly over to DC, we had already seen the reveals for the next McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Collector Edition wave, but pre-orders open this week. That means a better look at each of those figures, plus the Platinum variants. All 3 saw some brisk pre-sellouts at various online retailers, with Captain Cold being the straggler at some of them. Not that it's a bad figure, not at all. It just seems that this isn't as in demand as the other 2. It's got some todifications, but it's about as classic as we'll probably see in the Multiverse line. I'd have a hard time picking out which faceplate to use though. They are all so good. I still wish there was a tuft of hair or something showing from under the hood, but I think that's to play into the Platinum variant of the Super Friends Captain Cold. It's just a blue skin tone, a darker costume, a red freeze gun. But it does exactly what it sets out to do. It's a modernization of a classic cartoon costume. Next is Green Lantern Guy Gardner. Perfect timing with his appearance in the upcoming Superman movie, where everyone's talking about Nathan Fillion's terrible, terrible hair. We talked about it already, but bonus points to McFarlane Toys for including 2 hair pieces. You can go with the updated do if you want, but you'd be in the absolute wrong if you didn't go with the tried and true bowl cut. That makes the accessory layout absolutely hilarious, but that also made me notice the full-on screaming head and how awkward it looks with nothing in the mouth. And at first I couldn't wrap my brain around it until I saw the images for the Platinum Guy Gardner costume. The old street clothes blue with the G on the chest. That made me realize how it actually works. If you pull the faceplate off, there's an inner mouth and a tongue, just on a flat piece, I'm guessing. And that is hidden behind the closed lip faces, which is actually how anatomy works now that I think about it. You close your mouth, you can't see the tongue. Let's ponder about that for a while. No, I'm just kidding. I always giggle when I see this costume. It's just kind of silly, but at the same time, oh man, I gotta be jealous of the balls it takes to take your real name initial, stick it on your chest, and go do some superhero stuff. Finally, the one that was hardest to snag, I believe, is Power Girl. It's Power Girl. We all knew that would be the case. You see a female in the DC Multiverse line, you must purchase it as soon as you see it. They go fast. They're blinking, you miss it. I'm not the biggest DC aficionado, but to me, this is her iconic look. And so that's another reason for the fast sellouts. When this was first revealed, I wondered what the platinum would be, and I would have never guessed because I didn't know that the pants and jacket costume existed. But here's that. Just because I don't recognize it doesn't mean it's bad, but I will say that I'm glad this is the platinum and the standard is the regular release. Although I have been finding a lot more platinum editions than standards when it comes to collector editions. That Walmart electronics section, they just pack them in. So I guess we'll see how this goes because I can't remember what I was doing that day, but I missed the pre-orders in a lot of spots. We're gonna swing back around to Marvel because Medicom posted their monthly pair of MAFEX pre-orders, and we're gonna start with Black Panther Elric Killmonger. They showed a teaser image last week, and if you remember, I said I really like the animal print, but I wasn't too sure about the likeness. I'm still iffy on that head, but turns out there's also another unmasked head where he's a little more vicious, and I like it better. But it's gonna be hard to beat that masked head. That just takes the cake. Look at it beside an actual movie still and tell me it is not downright spectacular. The gold is much more prominent than the legends I've had on my shelf for years, but then it fades. It gets more subtle as it goes down, as it should. That is very movie accurate. It's almost like the print is under a mesh or a sheer material. It's so damn nice looking. MAFEX nailed the T'Challa Black Panther. Now they've nailed the Killmonger Black Panther. There's nothing else to say. It's really just looking at the pictures and going, well, good god dang. Looks like I'm putting some pre-orders in. And I say pre-orders, plural, because the other MAFEX solicitation this month is Hush Robin. Hot dang. It's finally happening. Yeah. It was revealed at a show a few months back, last year sometime, but pre-orders, locked in. That's one step closer to my grubby little hands and my display. I've been flying this flag since the MAFEX Hush line started, and I know a lot of other people have too, so finally. Not just to get Robin to go with our MAFEX Hush Batman, but to get a really great Robin in 1/12 scale. There's been some okay Robins over the years, but I don't think any of the shelf-worthy versions were in this costume. When I think of Tim, this is what I picture. It's the perfect update to the classic Robin look. Mostly pants, and then the black outer cape to add a little stealth to the overall color scheme. Again, finally, I cannot wait. I will point out that MAFEX has been steadily going up in price while reducing the number of accessories. So I'm not liking that trend much. That's the big reason I've gotten a little pickier. I went back and canceled Scarecrow and Riddler, but there's no way I was missing out on Robin. No way whatsoever. Even if it does only come with some hands, an angry head, and a staff. I mean, come on. Look at that exciting promotional image. And that's all I got for this week. If I missed anything, we'll swing back around next week. In fact, next week I will talk about the 4 Horsemen Cosmic Legions builder packs, I think it is. I just saw the initial images, but then I saw other things floating around and they were small, and the pre-orders for those don't start until the week after. So I'm gonna catch it right before that opens up. So already got plans for the next rewind. As always, special thanks to the Patreon, the no bots, the wind beneath my wings. I wouldn't be able to do this without y'all. Very short notice. I will be making an appearance at a Skeletron event in Rochester, Minnesota in 2 weeks. February 8th is a Saturday, I believe it is. I will have more details next week. That's how quick this has all come together. I'm not even actually sure of the venue. It is a toy store. Be hanging out there, talking, looking at some Robo Skull, looking at some Skeletron stuff, seeing what's going on, having a fun time. This week though, I got this from Big Bad Toy Store, and this is a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. This is the Factory Entertainment LARP Power Sword Big Bad Toy Store 25th Anniversary Skeletor Edition. I know those words are in the title, I just don't remember what order they're in. And when I pre-ordered it, I thought, well, okay, it's a power sword. It's probably gonna be kind of small, and it's hollow plastic, bend around. Remember those swords at the dollar store? I figured it was gonna be something like that. And while it isn't like solid plastic, it's got a core that runs through it to keep it straight and make the handle really rigid. But then the power sword part is like a foam overlay. It gets bendy. For safety reasons, obviously, you can push in here and the tip is a little, that way you can't stab through something. The purple is pretty. Then the black handle, the pommel. Oh, the pommel is actually plastic, so you can... There is quite a bit of flashing from the mold lines going around it, and my first thought was to shave them off. I'm glad I didn't just take a blade and go, though. I tried out my snips down here underneath, and the rubber or the foam underneath is actually gray. I'm guessing for He-Man's power sword. And this just has a coat of purple, like a rubbery paint over it. Still though, I'm damn happy with it. I am very, very tempted to get the He-Man sword and then put them on the wall crossed, but they also have a Faker sword. He-Man's sword seems too obvious, doesn't it? Hey, everyone's gonna grab He-Man and Skeletor, but Faker. I know this is way out of my usual reveal type wheelhouse, but it's something I picked up. I thought was neat. Link is in the description if you're interested. So, get yourself a power sword or some toys, have some fun. As always, that's your weekend assignment. I know I say the same thing every week, but now I'm holding a sword doing it, so you better damn do it. Bye.